I've been on the road now for going on 12 days since I left. And so the only movies I've been able to see is Mandalorian and Grogu 5 times because I've been seeing it at the movie meetups. But there's a couple of big movies I'm really excited to watch that I haven't had a chance to see yet. And one of those that I've been so excited about since the first trailer dropped was that for Backrooms, with one of my absolute favorite actors in the world. I think the most underappreciated actor in the world right now, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and a dynamite cast supporting him as well. And, I thought when we saw that big trailer come out for it, we thought, you know what, this thing could do pretty well. I thought maybe, even as high as a $55 million opening weekend. Maybe, if it's lucky. Well, Backrooms just came out and has had, without exaggeration, one of the greatest opening weekends for a horror film ever. As Backrooms made $81.5 million to take the top spot from Mandalorian and Grogu, which dropped down to number 3, by the way, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And just kind of blow every expectation completely out of the water. As a matter of fact, it is now one of the biggest opening weekends of the year. Take a look at this list here. So as we look at the movie openings, the biggest opening weekends of 2026 so far, Super Mario Galaxy movie still sits at number 1 for now, with 131 million. Michael, the second biggest opening at 97. Mandalorian and Grogu, just by the skin of its little Grogugian teeth, at 81.6 million. But look at this, Backrooms, the number 4 biggest opening movie of the year at 81.5 million. Then, of course, Project Hail Mary in the number 5 spot at $80.5 million. First of all, it is amazing to be at this point in the year and see numbers like this. We truly are in the box office recovery now and back to pre-pandemic levels. But I mean, I don't think, Rob, even the most optimistic, I don't even think the most optimistic of people would have guessed an $81 million opening for this film, considering it had a good ad campaign, but it didn't seem particularly exhaustive. Like, I didn't see a ton of marketing for it. And now, yeah, it had a big YouTube following for sure, but we've seen other things with YouTube followings open to what we call good numbers, but significantly smaller than what this opened with. So I haven't seen the movie yet myself, because again, I've been on the road for 12 days. I'm hoping I get to see it as soon as I get home, but I'm excited for it. I thought it looked good right from the get-go. We want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, Pocket Hose. Guys, I'm excited to tell you about the world's #1 expanding garden hose and their brand new product, the Pocket Hose Ballistic. As you guys can imagine, I'm not exactly gentle with my gear. I drag hoses across concrete over the pool, yank them around corners. I even coil and uncoil them all the time to put them in my camper van when I go out on my movie meetups. And generally speaking, a lot of them don't last. But the Pocket Hose Ballistic has been a totally different story for me. It's incredibly durable, super lightweight, and just makes the whole job easier. One of my favorite things is how simple it is to use. You turn the water on, it expands. Turn it off, it shrinks right back down to pocket size. And it's reinforced with a liquid crystal polymer, the same kind of material used in bulletproof vests. Plus, it comes with the pocket pivot, which gives you 360-degree rotation at the spigot, so it moves with you instead of fighting against you. And now, for a limited time, when you purchase a new Pocket Hose Ballistic, you'll get a free 360-degree rotating pocket pivot and a free thumb drive nozzle. Just text Campea to 64,000. That's CAMPEA to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Text Campea to 64,000. Message and data rates may apply. Rob, why did this movie, with a good marketing campaign, but limited nonetheless, what was it about this film that captured the attention of so many people in the movie-going audience that it's, as of right now, like the number 4 or 3 or 4 biggest opening weekend of the year so far? What do you think about it?
Well, this movie is actually, I would consider it an IP, in the sense that when
sure, yeah, that's fair.
When the meme, when it was finally, the picture comes from the early 2000s, the original photo, but when it became memed out and a little background was given back in 2019, you had people like Kane Pixels come along, who directed the Backrooms feature film, and start to make short films and created his own mythology. I watched an interview with him. He's got an 80-page Bible that he wrote about where he's taking all of this and he already knows what it's all about. So for the last basically 6 years, he's been building out, he's been making many short films in this universe, and people have become, there's a whole community around the Backrooms. And so I think that you didn't need, all you had to do was tell this community that already existed, that was already very active in this community, the movie was coming out. And I felt the same way when I went and saw this, that I felt when I was watching Markiplier's Iron Lung, in the sense that the theater's packed. And Iron Lung did not have much marketing at all. It was just Markiplier himself.
Well, it also made a minuscule amount of money compared to what Backrooms made.
Sure, but I think Backrooms is a much bigger deal. I mean, Markiplier was just this was actually a continuation of a story that had been ongoing for 6 years. And I think that's why, plus I thought I love the movie. I've delved into the Backrooms lore over the years and watched the films, and not all of them, but I've always found it pretty interesting. And this whole liminal space horror and the whole creepypasta movement and all this. And then the movie, I thought it worked really well in a Lynchian, Kubrickian. It reminded me of even the movies that I like that aren't necessarily related, like Antonio Oni's Ennui trilogy, La Notte, La Ventura, and The Eclipse. And then there's another movie called Last Year at Marienbad. It's a favorite film of mine from the early 60s. And it's really interesting like this. And the audience freaking loved this. I mean, people might not have liked the movie after they left, but while they were watching it, you could hear a pin drop. Nobody was on their phones. And I was clearly the oldest person in the theater. And when we went outside, the theater, it was packed and everybody was in line getting their refreshments. There was a buzzing amongst this audience. I mean, this is truly, I think, both this and Obsession will be looked back as Gen Z zeitgeist movies, because the people were stoked. You would have thought that it would have been the kind of excitement that we would have had for a Star Wars movie back in the day. But this was I loved seeing all these people lined up in the Spectrum, get popcorn, to get whatever. There was no Backrooms popcorn bucket, but I would have bought one if there was. I guess you'd get one that wasn't really there. I don't know.
Just a plain off-white box.
Yeah,
that would have been the perfect popcorn box for.
I saw actually someone do a thing like a Backrooms-esque thing at the Burbank 16. John, you might be familiar with this. If you go to the top of like the Dolby Cinema or the IMAX, there's an exit, and it has and there's a restroom back there, and it has like back rooms to like all the other theaters and like yellow hallways. No. So someone did that. Yeah, because you can connect to other from the top. So someone did that and made like a Backrooms at the Burbank 16.
That's a cool idea. Now, again, the one thing about the difference between, say, like a Backrooms and Obsession, which we'll talk about in a minute here, but is that, and Iron Lung, is that, Iron Lung and Backrooms don't have the best audience responses. I think Backrooms has had a better audience response than Iron Lung, but Obsession is one that has been really peaked. But we'll talk about that in a minute here. I'm just really curious about, so many people rushed out to see this. Look, I went back and I started watching all the Backroom stuff that was on YouTube when the first trailer dropped a while ago. And I'm like, this is really fascinating. This is really cool stuff. But like on its surface, there's nothing particularly attention grabbing about it. There's really nothing it doesn't really have a big hook to it. So I thought the trailer looked really good, but that's why I thought maximum it's going to make, and it'll be great. 55 million would be amazing for this thing to make. So I think they're going to do a lot of clinical dissection of this and what went into the opening of this film. Now, I don't know how it's going to do on its second weekend. Again, it's got, people generally seem to like it. Rob, I know you loved it. But it doesn't have the biggest of reception. So I'm going to be curious to see, does it take a 60% drop? Does it take a 40%? Like, I just don't know. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
It's not a film for everybody. I mean, it's not a fast.
Well, no horror film is, right?
But this one is a particular slow burn, and I think you have to be, if you like Twin Peaks and you like Mulholland Drive, and they're very different kinds of movies, both Obsession and this, but it just really appealed to me.
Well, I'm excited to watch it now. Somebody in the live chat said, well, John, why don't you just pull off the road one night and just go into what? Because we have a clock on trying to get back home. We've been on the road for 12 days. We're trying to get home. I've got tickets to an advanced fan screening of Masters of the Universe on Wednesday. We don't have 4 hours I can pull off the road to go and watch Obsession and Backdoors. Or Backrooms, unfortunately. I keep saying backdoors. Backrooms, unfortunately, but I'm going to maybe see it Wednesday after I see Masters of the Universe on the same night. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We just had one of the biggest openings of the year, and honestly, one of the biggest openings for any horror film ever with Backrooms. What do you think caught so many people's attention that made it had such a big opening weekend? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show Podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.